The year was 1787. The Revolutionary War had just ended, and the once known United Colonies were now known as the United States of America. States had control over how they wanted to govern themselves. Problems with this form of government, also known as a confederation, began to become apparent. A big factor in the realization of these defects was Shays' Rebellion. Shays' Rebellion was an uprising in which the rebels were responding to a debt crisis due to the state government's efforts to increase taxes heavily on citizens. This, along with many other issues, brought attention to how much the nation needed a stronger central government. So Congress developed a plan to create a new constitution. This plan was to gather the strongest leaders to convene in a gathering called the Constitutional Convention. Amongst the arguments held in the convention, one divided the states into Federalists and Anti-Federalists. Some of the Federalists are Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay. These three men are responsible for the creation of the Federalist Papers. These articles, written under the alias Publius, have shaped the government to become what we know today. In the Constitutional Convention, the choice was to either ratify the new U.S. Constitution or to not. Federalists were the ones for the ratification. They believed in the assumption of state debts, the creation of a central bank, national maintenance of a tax system, more attention on exporting, and most importantly, a stronger central government. Anti-Federalists were led by the likes of Samuel Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and Patrick Henry. They opposed the ratification of the Constitution and believed that a new national government would rid the people of their rights. They demanded a Bill of Rights to protect citizens' liberties. Anti-Federalists feared that a strong central government would become equal to the British tyranny that they had just evaded. The people were rambling on which system they wanted to support, and the division between the states was beginning to become clear. One of the states that were against the ratification was New York. Each state had a delegate to represent themselves. Alexander Hamilton was New York's delegate and had much different views than his state did. Hamilton was a Federalist, and the state he was representing was the opposite. So Hamilton developed a plan to do the impossible and sway New York into a Federalist state. And for this plan, it took 3 men to write 25 essays defending the new Constitution. And in the end, their goal of 25 was not reached. It was exceeded by 60. John Jay wrote 5 before he would eventually become sick. James Madison wrote an outstanding 29. And Hamilton wrote 51. These essays all had a common goal, which was to communicate to New York why the Constitution needed to be ratified. With 85 essays being written, not all of them tackled this specific issue. Some essays tackled other issues. From the 85, we have thoroughly gone through and selected 6 essays that best explain why the Constitution should be ratified. These essays include Federalist numbers 10, 29, 39, 45, 51, and 84. Of the 6, the most popular essay is Federalist number 10, written by James Madison. Madison explains why a Republican form of government would be ideal for the nation in Federalist number 10. This essay persuaded many and is known to be one of the most highly regarded political writings of all time. In number 21, Hamilton criticizes the Articles of Confederation and explains how the government cannot enforce laws, how states can be easily overthrown, and how the national government is not strong enough to raise revenue from the states. Rather than supporting the Constitution, this essay points out what is wrong with the existing form of government and why it needs to be changed. Number 45, written by Madison, confronts the biggest question of the Constitution. The people believed that this new central government would have too much power, in which Madison replied that the central government's power would not threaten the states, and that the federal government is not an expansion of the powers they already have, but an easier way of administering them. Numbers 39 and 51 go hand in hand. These essays, written by Madison, proposed the different branches of government and the checks and balances we have today. Number 39 emphasized the need for different branches, and 51 clarified the structure of the government. Hamilton, Jay, and Madison were successful in their mission of ratifying the Constitution. New York would eventually become for the ratification, followed by the majority of other states. On September 17, 1787, the U.S. Constitution was finally ratified, and on June 21, 1788, it became law. The Federalist Papers have much more of an impact than just affecting the Constitution. The essays are often referenced in Supreme Court rulings, and they are also known as the most important and influential work of constitutional interpretation ever written. The Constitution has been in use for over 200 years and has continued to work through our ceaseless country's development.